our new. So after discussing with our design partner, they suggest us to um like put everything that should be prefabricated in the central module, which in this plan you can see for unit 1 and unit 2 we have this part to be prefabricated, and then they will be shipped to the site in in this in this grid, and for those there is nothing, not that much inside the space. We just have to ship the panel to a site and then connect them on the site. And for this one is only this part need to be prefabricated, and this part should be shipped by the panels. And this one is also only ship this, only this part is prefabricated. I mean, those all of these are prefabricated, but only this part is in modular design. And for second floor, you can see that we change the plan so everything can be more in a more modular way. And the design partner also suggests us to change the exterior wall to fit to a grid line. But if we do so, I think some of the lower module will, some of the upper module will lose its support from the lower module. So I am not sure should we do that, because if we choose to do both modular design and using panels, I think it's okay to maintain the grid line as a central wall line. Yeah. So there's not much updated here, but yeah.
The sub-team B, we were talking about a couple of things that just wanted to bring up with the architecture team. Just looking at the plans. I just wanted to make sure that each of the bedrooms had achieved the minimum square feet of 300. I wasn't sure if a couple of the studio bedrooms didn't meet that requirement.
Yeah, some of them are not.
I was just I was looking at the project guidelines. I can go ahead and pull it up. Let's see. So it says per dwelling unit. Can you guys see that? So yeah, if you look here, I'm sorry, if you look here. So I was just concerned, or I'm sorry, for attached housing. This says building size 500 square feet or less per dwelling unit. So I don't know if we have to follow that strictly, or if we need to do some rearranging to meet this this requirement.
So I was thinking to to make the grid from 11 feet to 12 feet, so it'll be more suitable. But right now we haven't changed it, so some of them are not made the requirement.
Okay. Max, do we know if like our project is still eligible if we don't meet that requirement, or is that like a strict guideline?
Actually, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, you
Yeah.
should ask about them later on after the meeting.
Yeah. And then also, Jared, if you wanted to talk to them about the lining of the plumbing walls and some of the other stuff that we talked about.
Yeah, sure. We didn't go through this in excruciating detail. I think this is something that Adriano, I know that he was unable to attend this meeting, but something that he could advise us on as well. In terms of like looking at the plans, we're gonna keep you guys updated because we need to, I think our design partner will, point this out as well. But in terms of like the layout and the drawings, this is something that I guess engineering team B will still be trying to work on. And like I said, Adriano can help out with it in terms of lining up the, like how in the plans you have, you'll have like a bathroom and you'll have like a kitchen kind of next to it, kind of like making that arrangement so that most of the plumbing is in like a few walls rather than just kind of like spread out. Like, so that's something that we're still trying to work on so that we can like give you like clearly what our recommendations will be. But the idea is that you want to like for each of those floors, have it so like the plumbing walls can go like straight vertically up, right? So if you have like a wall that has plumbing that's next to like a shower or next to like a kitchen sink, you want to try and make it so that on the first floor, that wall will extend up to the second floor and will extend up to the third floor. So that's something that we still need to work on in terms of like giving you a specific recommendation. And then we can cross-reference that with, stuff that our design partner could advise us on, or Adriano could advise us on as well. So that's still in the works, but engineering team B will work on getting that to you.
And then another thing I wanted to bring up is for the roof. We had done wait, let's see. It should be this one. Okay. So we had done, I'm pretty sure we had done most of our calculations for the solar panels with the assumption that we have this overhead kind of region for going over the second floor. I know that was something we had talked about last week, but I think it just makes sense in the frame of like it being a protection from the elements as well as some additional area for solar panels on the roof. Is that something that we can add, Alan?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So that would just be, I think, Jared, if I have it right, it's just these panels right here, right?
So the calculation is on the mural board, so y'all are free to look at the calculation for the solar panel in terms of like the power output per year. We use a tool provided by NREL with some of the parameters from like the design and some assumptions. All those are included in that box. So you can see there like the numbers that we got with the solar panels and the setup and everything. And all that stuff can be further tweaked, but we got like the general stuff down. In terms of the like, if you go back to the drawing for that roof, right? When we did this calculation, we included an additional row of boxes. So if you can see, like if you hold it still right there, I'm gonna annotate. we added pretty much down here, we added basically another row in terms of our calculations for that. So instead of it being just like 3 rows down, we added a 4th one. So that's an additional 6 boxes here. That number can be tweaked so that we can fine tune our value. But we went ahead and added that additional row of area in the hopes that, you know, like Sterling said, that area can be used like for mounted solar panels that could potentially provide like some type of shading or something like that, so that we can have some more output. So yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of since I'm here, just wanted to show this again real quick. So for engineering A as well, I would encourage you to read. This document's only 12 pages, the Zero Energy Ready Home National Program Requirements. And there's a list of kind of conditions on different insulation for walls and windows, for team A's sake. And then for engineering team B, this has a lot of kind of requirements on us getting an idea of how much energy we're actually outputting and like how efficient we are. Jared, we could talk about it like at our next meeting a little bit, but probably a good thing to read as like we start to go down into the specifics of like what actual materials and what systems that we're gonna be implementing. So for everyone on team A too, I'd encourage you to check that thing out. It's a pretty short read. So yeah. Yeah, of course. I've got some, Max, if you're okay with it, I can share my screen and just show kind of the update for engineering team B.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Just for your guys' knowledge as well. We kind of just have a working doc and put stuff down, kind of action items, and then try and answer some of the things that we wanted to address for the week. So yeah, so like we said, we kind of we have some rough calculations as Jared just showed for actual solar panel output. This is going to be able to give us an idea of how much on-site renewable energy we have. What is important to note here is that we are most definitely, with just the nature of like solar panel efficiency, like it's not realistic to assume that we're taking all of our power from the solar panels that are on site. So what they say, what the contest says is we just need to specify without the renewable energy, I suppose, like what community-based renewable energy or utility-based renewable energy sources we would be looking for to power our facility to make it zero energy. That's something that's just going to be important for us to look at down the line. The HERS score, this is if you look in that document that I just was referring to in the design challenge rules, the Zero Energy Ready Home program requirements, it talks about 2 ways for determining the energy efficiency of the home. One is going to be there's like a performance and a prescriptive path. One is kind of just based off of like the actual energy that's coming into the site. I have to look in a little bit more detail of what these 2 paths are. And then one of the ways is using actual energy modeling software to give you a HERS score. So I'm going to probably reach out to Tomas and see what software he recommends us using. To the architecture team, you guys are doing the modeling in Rhino, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, because I remember last year when me and Tomas were kind of working on this, he had found a Rhino plugin that allows you to do some energy modeling within that software. And that could, I'm gonna look into this a little bit more, and I'll reach out to him and probably come back with some stuff next week so we can try and get some more numbers.
And I'll add to that real quick. In regards to the HER score, what I'm gonna do is I have a document that so on the Solar Decathlon, like on our accounts, right? They have like a web page, a PDF with like a list of different software that's available for us to use. One of them in particular, if you go to the design challenge rules and there's a section there detailing about the HER score and some of the software, and it links to those sources, right? And one of those sources, I believe is called REM/rate. It's a software that could be used for the HER score. And so I've downloaded it, I've installed it, I've taken a look at it, and I've kind of compiled screenshots of some of the stuff that like it's requiring. So Sterling, if you see where under the HER score like bullet, yeah, that document, if you click that, basically what I've been doing, I haven't gone through all of it yet, but pretty much what I have here is, the list of some of the parameters, and all the stuff that's highlighted in red is stuff that is kind of incomplete that still needs to be filled in. So what I was thinking, and maybe you guys can give me input on this, what would be the best approach? Because the HER score is one of the scores that's needed to be put on the project summary. And all these parameters are stuff that's, kind of outside of engineering B. Some of it includes like details on like the windows and stuff on the, things like that, the basic layout of the place. So if you guys, in addition to whatever each team is working on, I'm gonna put this link in the Miro under where it says first score. That way it'll be accessible to everyone. And if at any point you have free time and you're looking for something to do, feel free to hop on this document with these, for each of these parameters. If you see the screenshots, it'll have like the information that I need to input on my end. And if there's like the screenshots in there, they're not all going to be correct, but if you see some inconsistency, something that's not right, you could comment it underneath the screenshot and let me know, and I can input that and update it. And that'll help make our job a little easier as engineering, team B is working on this, so I would really appreciate any assistance or help or input y'all can put in. If not, if there's some stuff that's kind of like left blank, I can work on approaching either architecture team or engineering A to get the required information. So not required on your end, but very much appreciated if you can take a look at this doc and input that. So I'll be putting that in the Miro board under the engineering team B section under first score. And like I said, if you don't have enough time to fill it out, that's completely fine. When I come to something that I don't know, I will approach the team, architecture team or engineering A and try and figure that out.
Awesome, Jared. Thank you for this. Yeah, so some of these parameters are actually outlined in that document, in the zero energy sort of requirements that we have to follow. So if you take a look at that, it'll help you it'll help like get an idea for all teams of like which components, which of your kind of like, I guess, concepts or which things that whatever you're working on like actually needs to be put into this. if there is stuff that's in that document that's kind of like going over your head, it was for me too. So I just kind of found the stuff that, excuse me, that seemed more relevant, and just got an idea of the actual rating system and what is needed. They have some requirements on there. Yeah, so looking at the load and the strain on the grid, we have from the design guidelines, we have the target energy use intensity, which is kind of basically like what our goal is of like how much power per unit on the project requirements. And so kind of just looking at this, we're gonna need to look into some renewable sources at either the community scale or utilities. I thought that also, as kind of like an offset, we can look into on-site or off-site fuel cells, which is storing energy chemically rather than, storing it as just like electricity itself. We also are going to be looking into the actual Energy Star appliances that we're using. That's one of the requirements, having all the fridges, all the just basically everything that's going into the kitchens, and whatever other general things that you think of that are powered in a home need to be Energy Star rated. So we'll look into that. Let's see. So just as an update, we're gonna have on-site battery storage for the solar panels, and we had a worry last week that some of these systems might be too bulky for the area. I think we're actually good with that. This battery storage isn't going to take up too much space, and the ductless mini split heat pump system is actually it's very small. It just depends on the unit that you have outside of the rooms that you're heating or cooling. There's certain requirements for the type of lights that you actually are allowed to use. They have to be automated. And yeah, so we were talking about just like the importance of aligning the plumbing walls. So that might be something that we want to talk about like next week. And Jared and I can try and get a better idea of what we think might need to be rearranged. But really what that's going to look like is taking the first and the second floor and saying like, okay, how can I rearrange the bathrooms or the kitchen or whatever, like the smaller kitchen sinks and whatnot, in such a way that the plumbing lines that are going to those systems are in line with each other, so that we don't have to put a bunch of piping into like multiple walls, because that's just not as efficient. And yeah, so we want to make sure that I think that I'm not sure just if this requirement is real, if we're using communal spaces for some of to kind of accommodate some of the dwelling units. So we can kind of look into that. Let's see. Oh, Max, I wanted to ask you, where can we find past projects again? Like winners. I just wanted to see, like, I just want to get an idea of like the depth that we really need to go into for like some of these systems.
Yeah. For that, I can actually send a link out right here in the chat room, and
That'd be great.
yeah, and also I can honestly reach out to Martha, our president 2 years ago, to reach out for like more other in-depth past projects that we've had.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay.
And yeah, I realized that we kind of haven't really thought about some of the low voltage systems, which are like your like communication. So like having service, and then also like your fire alarm systems. Like I think that there are probably a couple of others that I can't think of, but there's a difference between the amount of power that's going into like your lighting systems and what's going into like your fire alarm, what's going into let's see, for I'm blanking out on what else there is, but there are other ones that require much lower voltages. Yeah, I think that's as far as we got. We have some calculations on different type of solar panels and the actual panels needed, as well as the actual microinverters that we would need. This is from Atticus worked on this. And then just for the plumbing, reaching out to the engineering A team. I think that it'd be really beneficial if we thought about some sort of gray water system where we take the water that's run off from the sinks and the showers and have some sort of filtration system that allows them to be repurposed for water that goes into the toilets. It's a great way to repurpose water on site. So if that's, I don't really know how that ties into engineering A, so I don't really know why I said you guys, but anyways, something for everyone to think about, I suppose.
That could be something that we discuss with Adriano when he becomes available.
Yeah, definitely want to talk to him about that. And then let's see. There's this Ashrae Zero Energy Guide. This was kind of included in the project requirements. That document that's in the design challenge rules. And they recommend, or it's actually in the design challenge rules, I think. They recommend using this as a resource. It's a pretty bulky document that just talks about a bunch of different ways to achieve zero energy for small and medium office buildings, which is like very similar in terms of some of just the architectural layout, I'd say, for like a multifamily building. I'm gonna start going through it. I put it in the engineering B's teams folder. It was just like a free download on the Ashrae website. If I find anything relevant for like design specs, I can like reach out to the team and say like, hey, this section might be helpful. But I think that a lot of it is related to the probably engineering B scope and maybe A scope. But I'll keep you guys posted on that. So that's as far as we've got so far.
Awesome. Anything from engineering A?
Yeah, so we've been mostly working on those 4 points that were on the Miro for us. I've been working on the materials list mostly, but we also, I think Kaiji and Kenny have been working on the dead load calculations to calculate how much concrete we need for the foundation. Yeah, if I needed, the one thing I would say I might need some clarification on is what architecture team has in mind for the second floor roof deck, what they were envisioning with that, whether they want like mostly like what kind of design and materials they had in mind, so I can look into that. But other than that, I think we had a meeting yesterday, or not yesterday, Thursday, and yeah, we got some progress done, and we met with Andre, so he helped us clear up some things. But yeah, that second floor roof is a little complicated, so a little help on what they think they want to do with that would help.
So I would like to know a little bit more about like which particular part of the second floor roof you're really concerned. Is it like the the area that's overlapped with the units, or that is like exposed, like the part that solely covers the car park spaces?
Well, it's all going to be made with the same material, so like it's not really a concern anymore, just wondering what you guys wanted. Like yeah,
So what we've got from the design partner during the meeting last time was like, actually she did not specify anything about like the roof panels or like the materials or like differences between the one that is kind of outdoor podium style one or the one that is located indoor inside the unit. So and she also did not have specific comments about like the structural load, especially concerning like the second floor one. So
I'm not
she,
wondering about like, it's not from engineering aspect, more for like, so I can do some research on exactly what materials for the system we need to make sure that it's like waterproof and things like that. More like, did the architecture team have a idea of what kind of materials or what kind of look they were going for, so I can like kind of narrow my search for possible products and do some research in that.
okay, so so I don't think we still have come up with like a very concrete idea of what material to use for the floorings, but I think we would still try to look for wood, since like wood is still more sustainable kind of material for everything in for this type of like construction.
Did you
So
mean that you would use wood as the surface you're walking on for the deck?
no, I mean like the structural,
Yeah,
like
I understand that, but like, yeah. So I guess you guys haven't thought too much about it, but I meant more of what's gonna go on top of that, what you're gonna be walking on. But that's okay. Once you guys have like an idea, I'd love to know, because then I can do some research.
okay, okay, sure, but see.
Okay, Kaiji, that sounds good, because yeah, that's what I was seeing as well, doing some research. But then someone mentioned like it could be like stucco, or like plastered as well, but like that's like a whole scheme of the whole building as well. So I don't really know.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I know what you say like about like the surface for people like to walk on, but I think that's more related to the interior design kind of aspect. So I think it's still kind of early to discuss about this, and I don't think that would take a really large impact in terms of like how the flooring would perform, because anyways the like the waterproofing membrane or any kind of system would do the job, and then what's about for aesthetic kind of meaning or it's just our own preference. So yeah, I don't think that's really to be in concern at this moment.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
And I also have a couple of questions because Amy from Plant Prefab recommended using a superstructure frame in steel because of the general layout of our structure. She recommended using a superstructure, like a steel superstructure, and then the units, the modules, can be stacked after the superstructure is installed. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, because if that's the case, that's going to change our calculations, because we're going to be looking into steel frame.
Yeah. So please, anyone who attended the meeting to correct me or not. So what I've got from Amy was like she was trying to specify like the steel superstructure thing only for the second floor, the podium area, which covers the car park areas. And then so for the other areas for like the utility cores that what she recommended us to use modules, while the other kind of walls and stuff would be panels. She did not specify like to add a steel structure like to frame it or anything. So yeah. And what she said about like the dimension we've been using, like the 11 times 11 foot, was like she thinks such span is pretty sufficient for like even for like a stacking that is not uniformly or like placing right down below or up above. So yeah, so that's what she commented about the structural kind of aspect. So yeah, maybe Ellen, just tell me if I misunderstood anything from the meeting. So that's what I've got from her discussion. Yeah.
Okay, so it's only the exposed roof deck. The second floor deck is gonna be steel framed, right?
Yes, or perhaps what I got was like or maybe she also asked us about like what are the support of the podium deck, like, so I guess she was trying to see if we're going to use like wood columns or wood frames, or like even wood a steel column and steel frames like to support the deck thing. So yeah, that may be the area you may have to look on. Yeah.
Okay, I see. I think, yeah, the exterior. So do you mind if I share my screen? So here, can you all see my screen here? So I think what she meant is like this entire line is gonna be steel framed, just like for lateral resistance. Can you see my mouse moving or no?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
right here. So like this entire line.
Mm-hmm.
So this is gonna be like a steel moment frame, and then these can be wood joists. And I think she suggests using double LBLs for these joists.
Mm.
So this is second floor. Does it make sense?
So what are the like the span between each vertical member like that? I mean, like the one that you can
This one,
yes,
22 feet.
22.
So I think you're involved. You need to use double joist for the span.
I'm not sure it's really the case or not, but like she also like assumed that like she only mentioned the flooring kind of sizes, like the wood flooring sizes inside the unit would be something like 11 times 6.5.
7, 8,
Yeah,
6.5.
so that would be like two rectangular panels, wood flooring panels that fills up like the grid. So I'm not sure if that sizing also applies on the deck outside.
Because I saw on her red lines here. Can you still see my screen? Or what are you seeing right now?
I think you have to switch.
Yeah, I have to switch. Let's try it one more time. Here. Right here.
Yeah.
Are you seeing this?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So like if you see the arrow right here, this is the second floor deck, right?
Mhm.
So here, oh, it's the rim joists.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, but what I remember was like these yellow and red areas
Mhm.
are indicating the areas only for the modules. So she did not really specify for the area that's for panels.
Hmm.
But I'm not sure if like the system for the other part would be also the same.
I don't know if she has any suggestions on the joist sizes, or are they gonna be, prefab?
Mm.
I mean, like pre
Mhm.
assembled in factory.
Mm. But I guess like since like most of our floorings would be like based on like the square kind of layout, so I guess those should also be prefabricated.
Mm. Also, I'm curious, like pre-planned prefab, are they like do they just like get drawings from the architects and then they do their design, or they need to contract with some other engineering firm to deliver their product?
I'm not really sure about that since she didn't really explain like the workflow for their own firm. So,
Okay.
but I guess they would also do some of the calculations since yeah, she also had quite a sense for these kind of like construction and like joints. So,
Mhm.
but we of course we can ask a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like at first, I don't know why we need cost space. Here, right here.
Oh, you mean the foundation or?
Right, yeah, right below the foundation. I
Okay.
don't know why we needed that.
So what she said was like if we are going to use like a hybrid system of using both modules and panels, so the only areas that requires foundation, like requires excavation, would be the area that is where the modular sits, unless we choose to raise up the entire like floor for the entire building. So let's say there would be like a few steps up to walk inside the building.
Mm.
Yeah.
So like the entire building will be sitting on a raised foundation.
Yes.
I just don't know like what this cross space is for, because she said like
And she also
later
said like
on
the
that
foundation is for
it's for utility
for
connection. So
yes,
it's
for the
for
utility connection underground, and then there would be like spaces like the green, the small red rectangles is like for this is the space for like the technicians like to crawl down and
to
then
crawl under, yeah.
and do the fixing and all the stuff.
So I think this pertains to engineering B more. Like, have you? Because I think engineering B suggests adding a utility room, right? I just don't know why we need to store all of our MEP things in the cross space. Like, can we just carve out a room and call it a utility room instead of like using the cross space? Or because we're running out of space?
So I'm not sure if really that's the case, but I don't think that would be like best scenario to like generate a utility room just for this kind of purpose, since it's yeah, it still takes places, and then yeah, and that may also kind of affect the layout in terms of like we have to spend extra attention on where they should be located, and if the location affects the window openings of certain units that sit next to it.
Mm. So I think engineering team B, you might want to look at this, because like essentially this is where all of your piping and plumbing and electricity, all the wires are gonna go through into this, down into this cross space.
Mhm.
Just so I understand, what is like that room where the crawl space is referring to? What is that right there?
This one is is something, so they dig like 3 feet or 4 feet underground, and this is like below grade. This
Okay,
is the crawl space, and then if you look at the plan right here, and this is the access to the crawl space.
gotcha.
And
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
access to utility connection in crawl space.
Yeah. Okay. Where can we find these marked up drawings? Or is this just yours?
It's right here. It's in the winter 2022 Plant Free Web Designer Partner markup.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right. And do you know if we're going for option 1 or option 2? Option 1 is have core module and panel solution. And option 2 is all module solution.
So what so I think we should stick on option 1. Is it the case, Alan? Because I just want to make sure we're on the same path.
Yeah, I think so.
Module 1. I mean option 1.
Option
Core module and panel solution.
I think module option 1 is cheaper, but it takes more time to construct.
More work on site, less work in the factory. Yeah, so this doesn't require the on-site connection thing for electrical and plumbing. Option 2, I think it's gonna be more complicated.
Yeah, it looks like option 2 would be a little more complicated for the engineering team B's kind of work.
Yeah. Okay, so and then one more question. When you say core module, what do you know what they mean by core module?
The core module refers to like the utility core, where all the spaces that requires plumbing and kind of
Like these?
like toilets and kitchen. Yeah, all these stuff should contain in the same kind of rectangular area or square areas.
Right.
So
So
like,
that's kind of what we wanted to talk about with just looking at the layout to the right and just like thinking about ways, if you see the bathrooms for units 3 and 4 could potentially be located more central to that just whole unit there, so that we
like
can
here?
use that plumbing wall. Yeah, right there, exactly. But that was just kind of just thinking off the top of my head, looking at this here. But I think for the architecture team, we might need to maybe next week just discuss moving around some of those systems so that some of those rooms, just rearranging them so that we can have a simplified plumbing walls and plumbing lines.
Yeah, because right now all of the plumbing walls they are not aligned, and it's hard to get thing into get to one place to another.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
Sure. And I think the layout should already begun modifying since Ellen should just presented like the revised, like the ongoing revised version of the modules. So yeah, but we will keep working on that.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good. And Jared and I will work to try and come up with some suggestions for that alignment and stuff, and see where we might find the most optimized sort of layout, and we can work back from that or and combine stuff maybe next week.
Yeah,
Sure.
sounds great.
This is a little weird. This is the access to the crawl space, so they have to go underneath and then go through here and go into this crawl space. So like they have to dig this entire.
Oh yeah.
area.
So actually for the uniform, there is actually the windows that's missing. That should be like there should be a square in the empty square in the middle of this larger square. Yeah.
Here.
That should be a window here. So basically, for this older version, like the technician will go through the green corridor, and then there would be like some kind of courtyard in the middle, and then there would be like a door or anything like to go down and do the crawl space.
So they go down here.
Yes.
probably.
But of course, we may change that since. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And
Yeah.
also, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said that sounds good as well. But keep going. You're good.
Okay, and also another thing that I point out is right here. On one of the elevations. I think it's here. So like this is the kitchen, I think. And then like how are you gonna run your plumbing and stuff through here? I think we may need to build a little soffit.
Yeah. So
order
what
to-
Amy actually suggested us like to add utility wall offset next to the structural frame of the module itself, and then to allow all the utility piping, tumbling, all stuff like to go through that wall. So some areas may require double walls.
the soffit.
Yes. And then
Okay.
we may also like try to figure it out like where they should be located. But as she mentioned from the meeting was like those double walls should only happen in where the modules connects or like intersects.
So like, for example here
Yeah.
and there.
Yeah. But we
Okay.
will look for that for sure.
All right. Like Amy didn't have any structural, she didn't raise any concerns for structural issues. I'm just curious.
So apart from the steel structure for the podium areas, and I don't think she pointed out something that is structurally critical at this moment, since she said like the grid of span for 11 feet is kind of small, or not. It's not large enough, like wide enough to add up her comments for the reinforcing and all this stuff.
I see. But then I'm just saying that you have the really big span right here. And you
Mhm.
have one intermediate support. But like this is, I would say 33, this
Yeah.
span right here. So it's quite a large span. I think you might need steel beam right here. Or like you can add another column here.
Like right
Make it big.
outside of the panel, you mean? Right next to it?
So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
No? Okay, yeah. So like you can maybe add a column right here.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the green is the structure sitting above and blue is the walls below.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I don't know if you want to go for a steel beam or a wood beam right here. You know, because if you want to go with wood, it's gonna be like a very deep
Mm-hmm.
section.
So I'm not sure if really that's the case, but I think what Amy suggested, sorry, about using like this steel superstructure for the
Entire deck.
yeah, for the entire exposed podium level, like I think
Oh.
that would be more that would be better, like to isolate the structural system between the all where the units aggregates and then where the deck sits, because it only serves as a purpose of like a shelter and then where like communal activities would take place above. So I guess like separating the two structural systems may be better, like to process, and like it would be I guess that would be less work, like to think like how the interfaces between the two if using the same structural systems.
Okay, I was curious where the extent would be, because like this area is gonna be very awkward because you have like do you want to frame this out of wood or like have the steel systems extend all the way here? You see what I
So
mean? So
yeah,
this is
yeah.
like the unit below.
Yeah, so I think where the unit sits, no matter it's under or above, should be in wooden, since like all the panels for like the walls should be wooden panels, right?
This is
And
gonna be wood for sure, but like this area,
I think
because if you stop it here, you're gonna need steel columns here.
yeah, but I
Right.
guess adding steel columns should also be okay, because it's, as I remember, there should still be areas of buffer between the wall and the parking spaces, right?
Right, but then you're not separating the two systems because like this is a wood wall. Remember the unit
Yeah,
below? This
but I
is a
mean,
wood wall.
the steel columns would be placed right
Outside,
next
right
to,
next to it.
right next to it. So on plan, so the column would be like something that pops out the wall. Yeah, something like that.
Like right here.
But of course, that may kind of affect like the continuity of like the floor, no, sorry, the walls. But I don't think that's a huge issue here,
Okay, cool.
since it's like kind of like a backspace and no one really sees. And I think this can also apply to like other occasions where you mentioned like reinforcement should be placed. Yeah, just for this kind of like
This can be wood. This can be wood. It's just
yeah.
this needs to be steel.
Yeah.
All
I
around.
think that's the idea here. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice.
So but for the size of the steel columns, do you have like any idea like what would be the
Usually, You want square or round? Do you want the columns to be squared or round, or like circular?
I think square would be better for this
Okay,
case.
so usually it's like a chest that's 4x4, and thickness wise, I don't think it will be a concern for you. So usually 4x4, like
Yeah.
a chest that's 5x5 in inches.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
But it also depends on how many columns you're going to place, right? Because like the less column you have, the bigger the column is
yeah,
going to
but for the current kind of span of columns we have set up at this moment,
1, 2, 3, 4.
what kind of footing, like the spread, do you think is needed?
I think it's gonna be, you can do, I think I might recommend using W shape. So like I beam, I columns,
Yeah.
W shape, because it's only one direction. Or HSS, I think it's gonna be a very big column since you only have 4 here.
Wow,
And this
that's
is
huge.
8x8.
Because
I don't know,
what
because like seismic, I think the seismic is quite big for this
Yeah.
zone. So
so
I think you're gonna end up with like quite,
but what I imagine, like the size, like the maximum dimension of like any width or length of the column should be the same as the thickness of the wall should be. Is it like 2x4 or 2x6? Like the thicker one.
2x6. I think Alan made it 2x8, right?
Yeah, it's 2x6.
Okay, so 2x6.
Yeah, I think that would be that
You
would
want
be
to match it?
yeah,
Okay,
to
but
match.
that's for the steel though, right?
Yeah, but
For these.
so under these, of course, you can repropose like the required numbers of columns and as well as the spacing under this condition, and then we
You
would
want to
try.
go for 6x6 and see
Yeah.
how many you need.
Yeah, and then we can try to rearrange.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but that would be like the best scenario because you know from the original plan there is actually kind of a tight space between each car park space as well as like the columns right next to it. So,
Mhm.
yeah. But yeah, we need like the spacing and then numbers to figure this out.
Also, I think Gavin asked if we can, or you asked if we can move the column at the corner to here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can do it. We just need to cantilever this steel beam. And then this is gonna be wood because it's supporting a wood structure above. So we might need a special connection right here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's doable. You can shift the column to here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So maybe you can like we configure like the layout of these columns and then just give it back to us once it's ready, and then we'll try test things out.
That's good.
Thank you.